India must lead in securing the Strait of Bab el Mandeb. On the heels of the Strait of Hormuz crisis comes the new threat, the Strait of Bab el Mandeb crisis. Reuters on July 16th reported that Iran had instructed the Houthis to close the strait if the US attacked Iran's power plants. But this is important because this represents a risk to one third of India's entire trade. And we have seen this before when the Gaza war started in October 2023. The Ansar Allah group in Yemen, also known as the Houthis, claimed solidarity with the Palestinians and launched drones and missiles at Israel. From November to March of 2024, the Houthis targeted at least 40 vessels in the Red Sea, claiming that the vessels were linked or bound for Israel. In response, US and its allies launched Operation Prosperity Guardian to ensure freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, followed by a United Nations Security Council Resolution 2722 in 2024. Israel also carried out unilateral strikes against the Houthis. Now, the point we notice is that marine insurance companies tend to be highly risk averse, with over 90% of the world's shipping insured by just 12 protection and indemnity clubs, P&I clubs. Ship owners have limited room to negotiate. Between November 2023 and March 2024, at least 2,000 um, ships avoided the Suez Canal and instead sailed around the Cape of Good Hope. This delayed critical imports to India. Global shipping routes effectively reverted to what was being done once 70 years ago. Egypt lost a quarter of the Suez Canal's revenue. By July 2024, Israel's Red Sea port of Eilat had filed for bankruptcy. This time around, the situation is more unpredictable, with US forces in the region focused on Iran. It is unclear whether they will seek to secure the Red Sea as they did before. Even in 2024, when India bound ships were attacked by the Houthis, New Delhi had to lean directly on Tehran to bring the attacks to a halt. But that was a different time for Iran India ties. Meanwhile, the UNSC is more divided today than ever before, and even if it manages to call for freedom of navigation in the Red Sea, it is unlikely to pass a resolution approving a force to implement that call. China also likely to again take a unilateral approach to protecting its shipping in the Red Sea through quid pro quos with the Houthis. So, if the Houthis resume attacks on shipping in the strait, the impact on India's economy which is already reeling under the Strait of Hormuz crisis, would be dire. While India has now ordered that no Indian mariner be deployed on ships bound to or from the Strait of Hormuz, extended the same restriction to a busy route such as the Strait of Bab el Mandeb would not be easy and would adversely affect the safety and welfare of thousands of Indian seafarers. What India should do. Now, the author here gives powerful suggestions. He says that in 2024, France stayed out of a US led operation to guard its role in mediating between the Hezbollah and Israel in Lebanon. Those conditions no longer exist. However, the fact is that France and Japan, two countries that need shipping lanes at the Red Sea for their connectivity with Asia and Europe respectively, they maintain bases in Djibouti, which is perched on the Red Sea. Now, their navies have also conducted joint drills with the Indian Navy, which creates an opportunity for India to preempt a recurrence of the events of 2024. India therefore needs to proactively build a naval task force in collaboration with France and Japan to deter attacks on shipping in the Bab el Mandeb. India would also do well to engage Egypt and Saudi Arabia. They had refused to join the alliance against the Houthis in 2024, given their own stance on Gaza. This time, with their economies at stake, they may not stand by. As you know, the Houthis have recently announced a maritime embargo on Saudi ships, seen as a threat against their transit through the Bab el Mandeb. India needs to engage with these nations proactively to help secure the Red Sea from the Suez to Bab el Mandeb, while keeping its other partners in the region informed. A rule-based maritime response. It needs to be emphasized that this would be a theater-specific trade protection task force of navies rather than a strategic alliance. In addition to ships and personnel, the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean Region, the Information Fusion Center, the IFCIOR, hosted by India, would provide the necessary maritime domain awareness, while France and Japan could complement these efforts with on ground logistical support. The constituent navies could agree on joint rules of engagement in response to any hostile attacks. They could provide security, cover, or escorts requested by commercial and civilian vessels transiting the strait, especially those bound for Europe, India, or Japan. The task force would serve as a lasting demonstration of India's resolve to ensure respect for maritime rules and norms as part of Sagar security and growth for all in the region. India has both the responsibility and the capability to prevent the Bab el Mandeb from becoming a literal gate of tears this time.